Welcome to the I Love Monday podcast with your host, Daniel López and Medrano. In this podcast, we'll be covering different topics that vary between positivity, gratitude, perspective, self-love, and more. My purpose for this podcast is to teach different life lessons in a simplistic way that more people can relate to. I also want to take away the paradigm that we all hate Monday and transform that silly thought into I love Monday. We sometimes forget how powerful our words can be and how easily we can attract things into our lives. Now, without further ado, let's get into the podcast. For this week's podcast, we'll be talking about doing something kind, especially for strangers. Don't get me wrong though, being kind to a family member or a friend or a girlfriend, boyfriend, etc., that's good as well without a doubt. But to be generous towards a stranger, I just feel like it's a much deeper feeling of them having gratitude as well, and them knowing that somebody that doesn't even know them did something kind for them. And that is a trigger in people in order to be kind to other strangers, and turns out to be a never-ending loop. Mother Teresa once said, actually, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. And to me, that quote is beautifully said, because some people think that on their own, they can't make a difference at all, and don't end up doing anything at all. But if you have the mindset, like Mother Teresa says, let's say showing that kindness for one person, it just keeps on going and multiplying throughout everybody that sees that kindness. Maybe that person becomes kind to another person, and so on and so forth. And honestly, not just the person you're kind to, like I said, may be affected by your generosity, but perhaps someone else, even the people seeing you being kind to somebody else, they could as well get inspired by your actions, and then they end up being kind and show love to a stranger as well. And it just benefits everyone pretty much in the world once we are all showing unconditional love and nothing but love to one another and being kind effortlessly. It can either be you see the little old lady in front of you that needs help to carry her bags to her car and you go ahead and help her. It can be you see a stranger drop his keys in front of you and you offer to pick them up because you saw he already has a lot of things in his hands in order to actually bend down and grab it. Or maybe you see the quiet gothic girl that sits in the back with spiky hair that draws continuously in class with charcoal with her hands all dirty, and you generally let her know you like her art a lot and find it fascinating. That story is actually true though. There was a girl in the back of my class that not really too many people spoke to. She only had like a few friends she would talk to and associate with, and that was it. She was an introvert, and I understood that. I was a huge extrovert though, so one day I was heading to the back of class to pick something up and saw her drawing. I forgot what it was to be exact. I think it was a portrait of someone, and I really thought it looked nice. But I had two options. Either one is a typical high school mentality, which is, why am I going to talk to this person? What about my rep and popularity? Blah blah blah. All that stupid stuff that we tend to think of and overthink, which doesn't permit us to be who we truly are. Or I could have gone with the second option and not care what anybody else thought about me and just say exactly what I felt in my heart at the moment. And that's what I did. I would never forget the moment because of the huge smile she gave me and saying thank you to me. After that, I didn't just leave the conversation there, and I didn't just say I like her art just so I could be like, I did my good deed of the day type of thing, and check it off my checklist. I actually did like it, and I even asked her even more questions like, what exactly is the charcoal she was using, how long has she drawn that way, and what she likes most about it. I was actually interested and intrigued about it. See, you being kind is hugely important. Showing love is hugely important too. But don't just say something nice just so it's like an accomplishment of yours. Just like I said, checking it off your checklist. You have to genuinely be kind and not just do it for karma and expect the good things to happen to you. And that's what the only reason you do good things for is. Others who do feel it in our hearts to be kind and pretty much a benevolent person. You know that sensation that you just do it because it's in your nature, and that's how you were raised, and that's how you think of the world, and that's how you want the world to become? Now, I have messages for girls and guys. Girls, sometimes very few amount of girls become too competitive with one another, whether it's who has the most expensive purse, who has the most designer clothes, whose makeup looks better, who's a cheerleader, who's the artist, who has the nicest car, and all those silly materialistic things. But I do see that a very huge amount of girls lately have been empowering and boosting one another up much more. And it's honestly a beautiful thing to see girls empowering one another and making one another feel better about themselves, because truthfully, most girls do have it harder than guys. Mainly because of all these false expectations that are put towards women of how they're supposed to look, how they're supposed to walk, how they're supposed to look in a bikini, how they're supposed to treat men, how they're supposed to laugh. There's just so many things that end up stressing them. Especially young girls when they're like 13 to 19, those teenage years, that it makes it even harder for them. So my point is, why bring one another down? And I'm saying it's just a little few amount of girls that still do this. But lately, like the last 3 to 5 years, a lot more girls have been empowering one another, and that's what we should keep on encouraging. Now, my message for guys, it's silly. Some guys do not want to compliment other guys because they would be looked upon in a homosexual manner. They get embarrassed to tell another guy that his kicks are nice, that his hair looks fresh, that his outfit looks on point. It's weird to them because they think they will be judged, and that's absurd to me. I never really care for what anybody thought. I'm straight as can be, but if I see something on a guy, that his hat looks fresh, anything like that, I'll be like, yo, that looks like a very dope hat, homie. It's not me being nice, of course, again, just for being nice purposes. It's just me being myself and speaking my mind at the moment and not really caring what another person is going to think about me. Especially compliments of somebody else. Like, you should never hold back thinking you will be judged or looked badly at for giving someone a compliment. I do as well want to emphasize that I have nothing against the gay community at all. Simply want to explain why some guys hesitate when it comes to being nice to other guys, worrying so much about what society will think about them. Once you finish listening to this podcast, I would highly suggest to visit www.randomactsofkindness.org. There you will see a section in which it gives you ideas of what you can do to show acts of kindness. Multiple different suggestions that I'm positive you can at least apply one today. Go out there and spread the love and kindness to the world. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this week's podcast. I will be posting a new audio every single Monday so we can start off the week right. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and share with friends and family that you feel can benefit from these messages. If you want to see more of my content, you can head over to Instagram at DLópez, Medrano. There you will see daily posts I make and as well to get in contact with me. Hope you have an amazing week, and don't forget to say today, I love Monday.